Hey everyone, huge update. I am so excited for this. Wizards of the Coast just gave a big spoilers for their new Final Fantasy set coming out on June 13th. Pre-orders are already up, and I think this set is going to be massive, massive hype. It's going to be an incredible set. You're going to be able to draft it. There's commander decks. It's going to be standard legal. It's going to be amazing. The artwork and everything. I'm very excited. Let's dive right into it. So first of all, this set is going to have play boosters, collector boosters, commander decks, collector's edition commander deck. There's going to be a bundle and a gift bundle, and also starter decks. Um, the legalities, all formats. There's also special guests cards that's going to appear in the play boosters and collector boosters. The special guest cards are not going to be standard legal, but you can use them in limited, in draft and sealed. And they already gave a spoiler that it's gonna shake things up in limited, and there's really fun things that you can do with that. I'm really excited about that as well. Um, so the set is going to span all 16 Final Fantasy games. They announced that it will not have the sequels like Final Fantasy X2 or the spin-offs. So I'm a little bit unhappy because I was hoping for Final Fantasy Tactics to be part of this. It doesn't seem like Final Fantasy Tactics is gonna be here, but it's okay. It's okay. It's still gonna be amazing. They said that this has been a collaboration for 5 years with Square Enix. Every single art piece, every single flavor text, every single character, and card that they designed, it's all been approved by Square Enix, and um, in a really good collaboration with Wizards of the Coast. Gavin's worked on it, and a lot of the other people at Wizards of the Coast worked really hard on this. They went to Japan to the Square Enix office and met all the people who designed the games. Many of them who are still working on Final Fantasy to this day. And so there seems to be a lot of work put into this, a lot of love from both Square Enix and Wizards of the Coast. This is going to be an amazing set. I am so excited. So the standard set, it's going to have over 300 cards. And the starter kit is going to be 100% legal. They're also going to have a pre-release kit. Um, and the gift bundle is something that I'm really interested in. You know, I think it's going to be similar to the Lord of the Rings gift bundle. And in that one, it came with collector boosters, different art variants of certain cards, and also the One Ring came out in Lord of the Rings. I think they're going to have something really cool in this one. I think both the bundle and gift bundle, but particularly the gift bundle is going to be really, really nice, and something that I think if you're into the finance perspective of this, it's going to be very heavily sought after as well. Let's dive into some of the really cool cards that they revealed today. Um, so here is the starter kit. They showed Sephiroth and Cloud. If you look at Sephiroth, it seems pretty powerful. It's like a massacre worm, -2/-2 to all creatures. Both of these cards are standard legal. Every card in the starter kit is standard legal. So I think, it's going to be really interesting to see whether or not these cards are going to be used in standard. Um, but uh, but anyway, the artwork is awesome, and the starter deck is looking really cool. So Cloud, during a turn, it's also equipment themed. Um, these can also be your commanders. So that's pretty cool. But let's look at here. Let's look at what the cards look like in Final Fantasy. So chocobos are coming. That's going to be awesome. This is just one of the chocobos. They said that there's going to be multiple chocobos. I expect them to be all the colors. If you play the games, there are chocobos of all colors. They all have different abilities or stats. They said that chocobos are going to have like a landfall theme. So that's going to be really cool. And if you look, one thing they changed in the card design of all these is on the bottom left, you'll see the collector information. And here it's going to show you which game that this card came from. So here, this chocobo is from Final Fantasy 13. And so as you look through all the cards, you'll be able to see which Final Fantasy game the cards came from. And it's just a great way for people to just remember, oh yeah, I remember this from this game. Or if you never played that game, you can be, wow, this is really cool, I want to go and check out that game. And maybe it was something that everybody kept asking, like, oh, which game is this from, and the Wizards of the Coast people just thought, like, you know what, why don't we just put on the bottom of all the cards, and so people will know. So they also spelled this, the Tonberry. They said that this is like one of those characters or creatures in the universe that like walked really slow towards you, and when it gets to you, you die, right? So it's really the theme is definitely here, the flavor. It comes into place with a stun counter, so it's like really slow, but when it does start attacking, it has first strike and death touch, so like nothing can block this, right? Anything blocks it immediately dies. So that's really, really cool. We also have the Moogles, right? And you can see they're so cute. I expect there to be many other Moogles. This card seems really fun. I don't know if it's going to be good in limited or regular standard, but certainly really cool commander card. Very generous creature, giving stuff away. You can give away like cards that harm your opponents, or if you're playing commander, you can help certain players with this card. They also showed here the borderless woodblock card art treatment. These I think these look really cool. They said that this is like the art style for this is really like Japanese art styles. If you look at the artists for these borderless woodblock cards, they have Japanese artists, and a lot of the regular ones as well. But they really wanted to keep that Japanese art with the borderless woodblock cards. Now check out the Jumbo Cactuar. What an amazing card! All right, 7 mana, 1/7. It has 10,000 needles. When it attacks, it gets 9,999 attack. So it gets its attack power becomes 10,000. The flavor is incredible from from the game. Gavin said that this creature has the most attack power, or the highest number on any card that's printed in standard. Such an awesome card. You can do so many cool things with this card. Fling it, give it trample. It just kills everything. So awesome. All right, let's see what we have next. They're just showing some more legendaries. Sin Spara's Punishment. I think this card seems very cool for Commander. I don't know how it's going to be in Standard or anything like that, but this seems like a really cool Commander card. Graveyard. It's a Soul Tie Graveyard card. If you fill your graveyard up with a bunch of lands, it's going to bring all those lands back into play. I think the art on the borderless woodblock is really nice here as well. All right, so another type of card that they spoiled is the dual face card, and they're mainly going to be on characters. So the characters are going to have dual face cards. There's also side quests with dual face cards, which we'll talk about a bit later. Here's one of them, Garland. Now you notice that these are uncommon legendary creatures. So we're going to have legendary creatures at uncommon, rare, and mythic. And the theme of these character dual face cards is that the characters evolve, or they'll power up, or their final form, right? Like Garland, once you defeat him, he comes back in his final form as chaos. So that's what they're trying to evoke here with these dual face character cards. Another card is Cecil. Again, right, like he starts off Cecil Dark Knight, then he becomes Cecil Redeemed Paladin. I think this card is really powerful. I think this could have a place in Standard. Certainly in Limited, it's going to be an awesome card. But they also showed the borderless character card art treatments, which I think is pretty cool. I mean, the characters look like they're anime arts from the games, and the Roman numeral numbering is behind them, so you know which represents like which Final Fantasy game they're from. I think it looks pretty nice. Although I also think the regular ones look pretty cool as well. And here, CISOs from Final Fantasy IV, which they didn't really have nicely rendered art for the characters at the time. So it's also really cool to see what these characters would look like in in like a nice art form as opposed to just cartoons or anime or pixel. They did mention, they were asked whether or not there's going to be pixel art. They did not confirm or deny, but basically I think they did confirm it, and I think that's going to be pretty cool as well. I think it's going to be a special art treatment of pixel art, and that's going to be pretty cool. So they also revealed Emmett Selch, as well as his borderless character card. This card seems pretty powerful. It's a looter, and then once you have 14 or more cards in your graveyard at the beginning of your upkeep, you transform him, and then he becomes 6/6 vigilance, and like a Yawgmoth's will. So you can cast stuff from your graveyard. Seems really powerful. And they mentioned that the number 14, when you have 14 cards, that's kind of like a nod to the fact that this character is from Final Fantasy 14. They also said that there's going to be a lot of that, right? Like, so if a character is from like Final Fantasy 7, like Cloud, his commander card has the power matters, and the power that matters for that is 7 because he's from Final Fantasy 7. So there's going to be a lot of things like that. Now, this is a brand new type of card that they're doing, the side quest card. It seems very interesting. They only revealed this one. I want to see how the other ones are before giving judgment on these types of cards. But basically, it's like an enchantment, and you on the front you have to do something, and once you complete the quest, you can flip it over, and then it has another benefit. I think it's going to have a place. It's hard to know the strength of this card just by looking at it without knowing what the other cards do, but I can see that if there's like a +1/+1 counter synergies, which they probably white green always has +1 counter synergies, and food as well. It could be pretty powerful here, and it also taps for a land. I think they said there's 5 side quests. It's probably gonna be one in every color. So really interested to see what these side quests are, how powerful they are, and how it affects the gameplay. Now, summons. This is right. Summons are a huge part of the Final Fantasy games, and they created them here. They're kind of like a saga, but another different take on the sagas. So they're enchantment creature sagas. So very interesting. They're enchantments, so they can trigger eerie triggers. Delirium, if they're in the graveyard, they can count as an enchantment and a creature. So very interesting. And they go away. So they're sagas. So after 2-3 turns or whatever, however many number of turns, they go away. And then because they are creatures, you can attack and block with them. So they said that on the bottom, they're also the first sagas with the quotes, but they also kind of gave a hint that on certain summons, that space for where the flavor text is, there's something else there. So maybe there's another ability on maybe the rare or mythic ones that we're gonna see. I'm really excited to see what happens with those. There's also, these are the first borderless sagas that they've ever made. So that's really cool. There's definitely going to be some really nice art treatments on the summons. And finally, they said that there's going to be a summon or summons at every rarity. So there's going to be common summons all the way through mythic. So I think summons are going to be pretty prevalent when you play Final Fantasy, when you draft it. And I think that's great because it's such a big part of the game. Really excited to see all the other summons. Definitely expecting basically all the summons, but one of the big ones like Bahamut, we know Bahamut's coming. All right. So here, this is the special guest cards. I think they look really cool, but the special guest cards in Final Fantasy are what do you call them? They're like they just renamed and redid original cards that already exist, right? So this card, Dragon of Mount Gog, it's basically it's an ancient copper dragon, as you can see, uh, but they redid the art and renamed it. So I think that's pretty cool. The special guest card, they call it Final Fantasy Through the Ages. They seem to have they seem to are gonna have really nice artwork, like the dragon right here is by Yoshitaka Amano. They said he's done other works for this set. And I also noticed that for the Dragon of Mount Gog, at the bottom it says image illustration copyright Yoshitaka Amano. So maybe Yoshitaka Amano copyrighted this art and it's not owned by Wizards. So that's something that I noticed is pretty interesting here. There's Yuffie, so we're probably gonna get all of the characters, and if they're not in the regular set, they could be one of these Final Fantasy Through the Ages sets. So I'm expecting basically all of the main characters, or most, if not all, the main characters from all the games, and most, if not all, of the main villains from all the games, either as a card in the commander decks, or as a card in the regular standard set, or as one of these special guest cards as well. These cards, of course, remember, are not standard legal, but you can play them in limited if you draft them. Okay, and we've already seen these. These are the commanders. Just wanted to show that there's an extended art version and a borderless character card version. I think the borderless character card looks pretty cool, especially here on Terra. The pink background really makes it stand out and really pop. They said that each of these face commanders from the commander decks will have their own version in the main set, so their own standard version. And so you're going to have multiple versions of Tidus, multiple versions of Cloud that you can play with if you don't like this one, which is pretty nice. And yeah, so lastly, the last thing I want to just end the video on is I just want to give a quick financial analysis of what I think is going to be the best products if you're a collector, if you're an investor, if you're a and if you're a player, right? So certainly the commander decks are going to be great if you're in a commander, if you're a player. Um, if you just want to crack them and play them, buy the regular commander decks. If you're drafting, certainly play boosters is the way to go. They did not announce a box topper. I, I love box toppers, and I think everyone loves box toppers. So that would have been really cool, but it's all right. I understand they can't do a box topper in every single set. We currently have one in Aether Drift, and it's been pretty awesome. But the play booster is the way to go if you're going to draft. I think the draft experience is going to be amazing. But if you're a collector, if you're an investor of Magic, or you just want to collect Final Fantasy because you love Final Fantasy, I would definitely go with the gift bundle, the collector boosters, and maybe like a set of the commander deck, the collector edition commander decks. Of these, I think the collector boosters, I think they're going to be the best ones. I'm pretty sure they're going to do serialized cards. They've basically done serialized cards in like almost every collector booster recently, but they've gone down to one serialized card per set recently. I think that's a good idea. They might bring back more than one. That would make sense. Maybe like the characters, serialized cards for all the characters. We'll have to see. I think that's probably likely. I wonder if they're gonna do like a one of one Buster Sword or something like that. I don't think so, but that would be really interesting. Um, the collector edition commander decks, I think that's gonna have a pretty good premium because the only other collector edition commander decks, which is Warhammer 40k, is doing really well there. So and depending on for the bundle, if they're going to give like a guaranteed chase card like they did in Lord of the Rings, both the bundle and the gift bundle, whichever one has that chase card, it's gonna be really popular and really high demand. All right, let me know what you think about the Final Fantasy set. Are you excited? I'm personally really excited. Pre-orders are up now, so you can check out the prices on what they are. Um, I expect the pre-order prices going to be really high. I'm interested to see whether the prices are going to come down after release. It's really going to depend on how much they're printing of this. I think they're going to print a lot. I think so, but for the collector boosters, collector edition commander decks, they might print a little more than usual, but I think that given the demand of this set, which is going to be very high, I think even if they print more than usual, the price will remain very high and go up a lot. Remember, the quote unquote MSRP or whatever price they set for this is certainly going to be more than normal Magic cards because of the licensing rights and also inflation and Wizards of the Coast just wanting more money and increasing prices. So it's going to be very expensive for these products, but I think it's worth it. All right, thanks for watching, guys.